This month on Region Spotlight, we're going to be covering Italy's hidden gem for white wines. We're going to be talking about Friuli, Venezia, Giulia. Located in the northern Adriatic in the northeastern part of Italy, it's located right next to Slovenia, Croatia just to the south of it, and the northern border is with Austria. So this is an area next to multiple different subregions, multiple different cultures, and winemaking traditions. And it also is Italy's #1 region for different styles of white wines. So what you really need to know is that this is Italy's white wine paradise. This region is extremely well known for its great examples of Pinot Grigio, Pinot Bianco, many other white wines, and is the premier area in Italy for the production of all these. When you're talking about the best Pinot Grigio in Italy, you're usually talking about Collio in Friuli Venezia. If you're talking about the best Sauvignon in Italy, you're almost always talking about Friuli. If you're talking about 11 other varieties, you are going to be talking usually about Friuli as long as you're talking white wine. The other thing is border influences. Part of the reason why there are so many different grapes and styles up to the wines in Friuli is because it borders both Austria and Slovenia, and many years ago was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and so there was a lot of cross-border contact and cultural influences. So many of the grapes, winemaking styles to this day are still influencing each other depending on which subzone you're in. Then that leads into more of the varietal diversity. So while other regions only had many of their indigenous varietals and are more recently getting some international varietals, there's a lot of indigenous varietals in this very complex region. You can see Friulano, Ribolla, Gialla, Refosco, Pinot Grigio, Pinot Blanco. There's so many different varieties here, and they express themselves so beautifully and in different ways. And another thing that deals with the border and culture influences is the style differences. So there's many dry wines. You can find sparkling wines, orange wines. You can see a lot of Italy's natural wine movement here in Friuli, and you can get wines that come in many different styles. So you can see wines with lots of oak. In the case of some of the finest Chardonnays you're getting from Italy, you're getting some wines done in oak barrel in Friuli. You can see some of the best stainless steel Pinot Grigio. You can also get some fun wines like orange skin contact wines made in amphora here in Friuli. So this area is definitely quality over quantity, and that's part of what gives you that variety and style diversity. So even some of the larger, most well-known producers, instead of producing 3 or 4 different varieties in larger quantities, you'll see them produce 2 or 3 that they tend to make their primary varieties, but they might make 14 or 15 different varieties and different styles of wine, which really leads to a really deep and complex winemaking situation in Friuli. So, who would love these kinds of wines? If you're somebody who's looking for something crisp and mineral and lean and refreshing, especially when it's hot out, basically everything from Friuli you're going to like. Even the reds are going to be leaner and more crisp in style. They don't tend to be very big and rich. If you love seafood and you want to have Italian wine, these are some of the best wines. These white wines are incredible, and they have beautiful minerality from that high acid that'll help sing through. And if you're looking for different styles, you want to explore new varieties, then definitely you're going to love to explore Friuli. So many different subregions, so many different varieties, even within all of those regions and varieties, different winemaking styles, approaches. You will you'll have a hard time getting through every single thing because there's just so much to explore. And the fact is, as I mentioned right at the beginning, it is a hidden gem. Outside of just Collio Pinot Grigio, these regions and these varieties and styles are not super well known and super well explored. So you can get the best value for high level, internationally awarded, incredible wines, and you can find many of them for under $25. And even some of those Collio Pinot Grigios, you can get some of the best Pinot Grigio in the world for under 35 bucks. The best Sancerres are going to be 3-4 times as much as that. And if you really love Pinot Grigio and you're looking for something at that very high level, you can find something half a quarter as expensive and still get world-class, incredible wines from Friuli. Now, who would want to skip this? If you're looking for bold reds, you want a big, bold tannic Cabernet, Syrah, red blend, you're not going to find them here. As I mentioned before, very few large quantity producers, very few big names. So if you're looking for something with very large production, something that you can find everywhere, you can go to any restaurant in any state and see it on the list. You're not going to find those wines coming from Friuli because there's just about nobody producing the quantity needed to go everywhere. So this tends to be a little bit more boutique. There are some producers that produce enough of one varietal to have major market access, but they won't be everywhere in the US. The wines generally don't tend to be super creamy. This is more of a stylistic choice. They can do more lees aging, they can do more bâtonnage, but the majority of the styles you find from Friuli tend to be more on the crisp and sometimes on the earthy side. You won't find them to be super creamy. If you are looking for white wine, but you don't really like citrus notes, most of these wines are going to be lean and have lots of citrus. Same with that saline. That high minerality, that high acidity lends itself to having that citrus, and the Adriatic coming in, giving you some of those coastal influences going up into the foothills and even as high as Collio and those regions will give you more of that salinity. So if you're looking for a wine without crazy minerality, these are definitely one of the regions that you may want to skip. So I hope you guys explore Friuli with us because these wines are incredible. And if you love white wine, this is definitely the place for you to look.